Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. We're going to take you live to Alberta right now for live coverage of a standoff that is developing between protesters who were out protesting the carbon tax on the highway and police who have moved in and are now forming a line along, I believe it's Highway 1 in Alberta. And I'm just going to take you there live and let you see what's going on. We've seen a live feed come in, and we're told that they're. Well, I'm just going to take you there, so you can see the action as it unfolds. Here we go.
It's a good location.
I think so. I couldn't be more proud. I mean, this looked like it's beaming with pride.
Just one moment. Here we go. So these protesters showed up yesterday, of course. One of the larger Axe the Tax protests in Canada. There were a number of protests across the country.
All the news media, you want a story coverage? Come on out here.
So they were parked alongside the highway. At least one lane of traffic left open during protests like this, but police brought in about well over 17 vehicles last night to take up positions adjacent to the protest. There was some talk about them moving them all out last night, but they did end up staying. And now here we are this morning. Police have moved in and they've formed this line. What the objective is here, I'm not exactly sure. Whether it's to prevent the protesters from getting closer to the highway on the other side of this ditch, or whether they're preparing to forcibly remove them.
Hey, come back. Come on this side.
Don't know.
You're not allowed to protest. Welcome to China. Welcome to China. But if you're Palestinian, you could.
I guess we just need Palestinian flags, eh? And then we can do it.
This is for you. I know, but
Today's coming. Today's coming.
that's right. We're not doing nothing illegal. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. 5 times as many as up down here.
What's that?
5 times as many as
Oh, yeah.
down there.
I just want the world to see.
Yeah. T-shirt got somebody yesterday.
Yesterday was a nice day.
Yeah, today is a little cooler.
there's a lot more. Don't worry, what you guys see here is more than that.
Yeah,
Here we go.
more.
Yeah, no.
You are watching live coverage on Maverick News of a standoff between police and protesters on, I believe this is Highway 1 in Alberta. The tax freedom protest began
As long as
yesterday.
nobody goes down in the ditch, we're okay.
Yeah.
So it appears the objective here with police at this point is to make sure the protesters don't get out onto the shoulder of the highway or onto the highway in any way. They're securing the highway, and it's developed into some sort of a standoff. Last night, police did move in. They brought in at least 17 vehicles last night. It isn't clear how many are there now. And
All day. I actually like that the people are seeing them do this.
there was talk
That's
that
it, guys. Keep sharing it out. Keep sharing it out. Message Danielle Smith's office. Message your MPs. Call all your police stations and tell them that you support this.
Smile.
The peaceful protesting.
there was talk that the police might try to move them out of there completely last night, but in fact they let the protesters stay. And so they're still here, but now it has turned into this.
At the NW. That was Rebel helicopter yesterday.
Was it?
Yeah,
Rebel News has a helicopter.
yeah, they were.
Oh, they must
and
be
the
doing well.
Attacks on
And
the
it must
side
be
of it.
doing well, yeah.
No, they're using the same guy that went to
I'm on live, remember.
that restaurant. Guy who owned the helicopter.
Nope.
As long as we stand right here, don't go down in that ditch. No, they're standing against us. They're not standing with us. They don't have the courage to stand with Canadians. We're gonna go liaison from yesterday. Couple more famous people. Yeah, spread out, boys, spread out. What's that? Everybody driving by?
And again, if you're just joining us now, you are watching live coverage from Alberta of a standoff that has developed between police and Axe the Tax Freedom protesters. I believe this is on Highway 1. Protesters moved in here last night, well, yesterday. One of many Axe the Tax protests across the country, this one being one of the larger ones. Last night, about 17 police vehicles moved in. There was talk that police may try to move the protesters out completely from this area. That did not happen. The protesters were allowed to stay on site, but what we're seeing here now is police have formed a line in front of the demonstrators, and it appears they are trying to prevent them from getting out over onto the shoulder of the highway.
Freedom. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go.
Looks like there's a side road there where the vehicles have actually been parked, I guess, probably to keep them off the highway.
Well, we knew this was happening.
That's right.
They're not never prepared for the first day, but they start getting prepared on the second, you know. So we're standing down here, you guys, and it looks like we're just going to stand down here and hopefully a bunch of people get down here and hold the line with us. If we can get enough people here, then we can do our thing. Hey, let's go. Go on down. We're waiting. We can't stay here forever without the numbers. That's cold hard truth of it. So if you come stand up, as simple as that, and enjoy your taxes. So
I'll turn it around so you guys can see. I want you guys to see everything.
So it's not really clear where this is going. A short time ago, police forming this line of officers directly in front of the protesters. From what I'm seeing, what it looks like is they've moved these vehicles onto a side road adjacent to the highway. They were allowed to stay there overnight. There was talk that the
Share it out, folks. Share it out.
protesters were going to be cleared out of there last night. I did see videos out of there. This people talking about police moving in, and they thought they were going to be cleared out by the cops, but they stayed overnight. They allowed them to stay and continue their protest. Now it looks like what's happening is the police have formed this barrier. They don't want these protesters on the other side of that ditch on the shoulder of that highway. I know that the plan has been to protest on the highway, keeping one lane open, allowing traffic to pass, not to block the infrastructure. Police obviously don't want them on that highway at all. Police would cite safety concerns. They obviously also don't want to give the protesters an inch here to give them access to the highway.
That's why I pulled up the chair.
And the protesters see things differently.
Need some popcorn too, eh?
Yeah.
They're just standing there, staring each other down.
I'm plugged into the generator now, guys. I don't want my phone to die.
And we're hearing calls from the protesters, Ron Clark, Freedom George, for people to come and join them so that they have greater numbers so they can take a stand against the police who have moved into position here. Freezing up. The feed's freezing up coming out of there.
So talking with the liaison officers, they're pretty good guys, and they basically just told us that they're just here to stop us from getting on the highway and impeding traffic again. So, but the best part is we weren't getting on the highway today. We were going to, just be here doing our thing and regrouping and coming up with a plan. But up here in large numbers, so that we can do what we have to do, then we can't stay here. It's as simple as that. But we're not just going to stay camping in this parking lot here and not making a difference. It's just not going to happen. So either you come on down here or this ends, tomorrow probably. We get the numbers or we don't. So please come on down here.
So yeah, that's
we're here. We're waiting. We were here yesterday with large numbers. It was, I think, the biggest one probably across the country. So come on down, please.
Good job, George. Good job.
So this is exactly what I said. The cops don't want these guys back on the shoulder of the highway. They don't want them slowing the traffic down. Police would say they're keeping people safe. They don't want people on the highway protesting. So they're preventing access. Now we're hearing that the protesters are saying, oh, we weren't going to go on the highway anyway today. We were going to stay over here anyway. And they are speaking with the liaison officers there. And yesterday they were on the side of the highway. One lane was kept open. Then they moved these vehicles over onto this side road. Police moved in greater numbers last night. It looked like they were potentially going to clear them all out of there. The protesters thought they might try to get them to move by force. That didn't happen. They're still there. And then this morning, these officers moved in. We're being told there are more officers than this in the area. More than what you're seeing here. There was at least 17 vehicles in the police vehicles in the one grouping that we saw last night. And I think there is actually a second cluster of police vehicles in the area as well. Police very focused on this particular protest and these particular protesters.
I'll leave the camera running for you guys to make sure you guys can see what's going on.
So what we really have here is a standoff. Tension's running high.
They won't let us protest, that's what it is. You're not allowed to protest, guys. You're supposed to accept whatever comes your way.
So police have allowed them to just stay on the side road, but they are not giving them access to the highway. And the word is, if the protesters stay on the side road, that's this side, the side road side of the ditch, they'll be left alone, I guess. If they try to make their way onto the shoulder of the highway again today, police will take steps to prevent that from happening. So the cops are standing there in a line, and they are eyeball to eyeball.
Just be careful with the protest. Thanks.
So the protest is happening. It's obviously there. Police just don't want them on the highway.
If you feel that you need to come stand with us, please do so. This is your Canada too. Where's the mainstream media now? They were here yesterday.
So yes, the reason this is going on is because yesterday the protesters were parked on the shoulder of the highway. They left one lane open. It was causing some delays, I guess, but they left one lane of the highway open. They moved their vehicles, as I understand
They won't
it,
speak to us.
onto this side road. And the police are speaking to them. They have liaison officers on site. They just spoke to them a few minutes ago. And they've been told that they are not allowed to come back onto the shoulder of the highway. The protesters are on the side road, visible to the passersby as they drive by on the highway. A lot of people still honking, but the cops don't want them on the other side of that ditch today. So they've formed this line, and now we have this standoff. Protesters saying that they're going to stay, but not if they don't get more people out there to support what they're doing. This is the Axe the Tax protest, Highway 1, Alberta. And again, last night, cops moved in much greater numbers after dark. They took up positions near the protesters. The vehicles were moved over onto this side road. The protesters were worried police were going to come in and tell them to leave, and if they didn't leave, they thought the cops might force them to leave. That didn't happen. I was receiving messages through the night saying that the police had already moved them out, and that was not the case at all. They did not move the protesters out of there. They allowed them to stay. They've stayed overnight. We're now into a new day, day 2 of the Axe the Carbon Tax protest. This was probably the largest of all the protests we saw across Canada yesterday. It has continued on into this day 2. They're still there. They're on the side road, though, now. And police moved in, formed this line this morning, just a short time ago, and they're saying, no, you can't come on the other side of this ditch. There are liaison officers there who have been speaking to... They'll say they're not organizers, so I'll say they are key figures. The people you're watching in the video, Freedom George, Ron Clark, and they're saying, you guys don't come on the other side of this ditch. And as long we were just heard that the liaison officer said, as long as you don't come over on this side of the ditch, you're okay if you stay over there. So this is what we have on our hands here now, and it's turned into a kind of a standoff. And the protesters are hoping more people will come out. They want a large crowd. They want people to come out and bolster what they're doing. Calling on police to switch sides and join them. Calling on police to arrest Trudeau. But he's not there. This is Alberta. Trudeau, I don't even know if Trudeau is in the country today. And somebody brought their dog. Sorry, the feed sometimes freezes up a bit, but it'll pop back on here. Here we go. And you see, this looks like more officers coming. So it looks like we're going to get some reinforcements here. This is live from Alberta. This is the raw footage coming from Ron Clark. More officers moving into position. I'm not sure if these guys will replace the guys who are there or just join them. Bringing in a lot of officers here. Just walking right by the camera. My guess is they will join the officers who are there to extend the line. Maybe not. Maybe they're relief. We'll see what happens here. Yep, 2 lines. They'll probably march the first line back out, give them a break. I'm guessing. I wonder what it costs to bring all these police down and babysit this thing all day. If indeed that's what happens. Yeah, so there they go. Off for a break. And that's as, eventful as it has become so far. They're just standing there, staring at each other. We do have this. This is like a standoff. Okay, and we have an audio issue here. So it looks like we're losing the feed for the moment. It will be reestablished. And so again, if you are just joining us live here on Maverick News, what we have going on is a standoff between police and protesters. Axe the Tax Freedom protesters out in Alberta, where they moved in yesterday. It still is, I think, the largest of all the Axe the Tax protests that we saw yesterday. And it's continuing. We're going to go back live here in a moment. And they were there all day yesterday on the side of the highway. And we're going to go back live here just in one moment. Here we go. Now we keep losing the feed, but here it comes. There it is. And we're back.
Share it out, guys. Share it out. So after a half an hour, they already switched out one line and brought another one back in.
Yeah, they just brought in reinforcements.
So we have a new group of faces. We'll make them go viral too.
So yeah, they just moved a line of officers out, first officers. All of this just happening live, just unfolding now. So this is all happening. This is all fresh. So it was about a half an hour ago they brought police in, formed a line in that ditch to prevent these protesters from getting out onto the shoulder of the highway.
Screenshot them, folks.
So the protesters shouting things like, just arrest Trudeau, come over to our side, fight for the people.
Screenshot them, boys. Make them go viral. Their families must be proud of them.
Remember, you guys, your mom is watching you. Even if she's deceased.
Oh yeah, if you guys got kids, don't worry. Let's see what you guys do to Canadians.
Remember,
Stand up for your rights and freedoms.
we're free men and women of the land, and so are you. You need to stop working for your globalist bosses who are doing the child trafficking and the money laundering. So someday you're going to have to say, I'm sorry, I'm standing down. And don't let your bosses control you. You have to say.
You just take your badge number off. Oh, we already got it. Too late. Did you see him pull his badge number off? Wow.
And now it's been exposed. And the corruption goes on.
Oh yeah, that was funny. Just ripped off his badge number. I didn't want to see that. Too late. Look at that, asking them all to take off their badge numbers and stuff and their IDs. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You watch that, eh? As their boss told them to take off all their information off their clothing.
So they are being allowed to stay. They were allowed to stay overnight, even though I was getting messages saying they're moving us out. They're moving us out. They're gonna force us to leave overnight. Now, oh well, looks like we're getting a real clash. But that didn't happen. Police did move into the area, but they did not force them to leave. The protesters had moved over onto this side road, and they were allowed to stay there overnight. And now but this morning what they've done is they've moved these officers in. They've formed this line in the ditch.
Share it out, folks. Share it out.
They have liaison officers on scene. They're telling the protesters that they're not allowed to move back out onto the shoulder of the highway to protest there. And so now you have this standoff. And the protesters are still parked on the side road, and they're calling for more people to come down and join them. Say that they're going to stay, but they can't stay for very long if they don't get the numbers. So they want more people to join them. This was, and still is, I think the largest of all the tax freedom protests across Canada. There were a number of them yesterday. Many of them were supposed to be targeted at border points, interprovincial border points on highways, this being one of them. I believe this is Highway 1 in Alberta. And so you're seeing some of the key figures from within the movement here today. And they have been speaking to the liaison officers. Now, we're probably about 45 minutes or an hour into this now, and they've already moved the first line of officers out to take a break. They brought this secondary line in to replace them. Fresh feet, fresh legs to stand there and basically stare at the protesters while the protesters stare back. So the protest it appears that the police are going to allow them to just stay there and protest, but they've formed this line in the ditch. And that's a line that they're not being allowed to cross. It's not a line in the sand, it's a line in the ditch. The protesters not being allowed to cross. Police do not want them on the highway. Where yesterday they were protesting, slowing traffic down, parked on the shoulder. That in itself is somewhat disruptive, but they did leave a lane open. At times the feed freezing up there on location there, the feed that we're getting. But it does come back, so just give it a moment. There we are.
Standing with us? Just don't go right through them. You can walk in front of them.
So I mean, I'm sure police will say they don't want them on the highway because of for safety concerns. You know, my mom did say, don't play in the street. It's dangerous. But that's where these guys would, I think, prefer to be, is on the shoulder of the highway again. Slowing traffic down, being more disruptive. I think police are also concerned that things may go further than that. And they don't want to give an inch here now today, so they've formed this line. There's both sides standing their ground, not giving up any ground here. At least not yet. But the protesters saying if they don't get the numbers, they can't stay here forever. I don't know how long this is going to go on.
Guys, make it go viral. We're not doing nothing wrong.
And so it goes on. Hard to get a real handle on exactly how many protesters are there. From what I'm seeing, maybe 30 to 50 people, 60 maybe. I don't know, somewhere in that range. They have some campers there, trucks, a lot of cars parked on the side road of the highway, and they're parked right near the. There is a truck stop adjacent to this. That's the thing. You're going to go over to the truck stop, and the cops are going to be in there on their breaks, and the protesters will go over there, no doubt, to go to the restaurant, use the washroom facilities. They'll all be in there together, standing side by side in the washroom. Oh my. That could be tense. Lost our audio again. It'll be reestablished at some point, but you can see what's going on here. I don't know. This could go on for a while. I'm not seeing any indication police are going to move on these protesters at this point to try to clear them out or anything. It looks like they're going to allow them to stay, at least for the moment, and continue to protest on the side road. Frankly, it is safer on the side road, but I think that the protesters would like to be somewhat disruptive. Yeah, and no audio again. Hang on. We'll reestablish the feed again. Just give it a moment. And yeah, I mean, they clearly would like to be somewhat disruptive, I think, some of them. And that means getting out on the highway. I don't think police are going to let them get there. Obviously citing safety reasons, but the protesters saying, of course, police don't want them protesting at all. Well, I guess we'll find out if police don't want them protesting at all. Feed reestablished here now. If police move on the protesters and clear them off that side road, I'd say then, yeah, the The police don't want them protesting at all. So it becomes a question of
Hopefully we got sound
constitutional
now,
rights.
guys.
So this is live from
How's your group
Alberta.
doing, Ashley?
Quite a few protests yesterday. I think there was one in Edmonton. I believe there was one in Windsor. There was one here locally that I went out and shot video. Brought you comments from all the protesters there yesterday in this area. They had no trouble with police here. They stood on an overpass, waved flags, and I believe there are more protests happening today. We did speak to one of the main figures here in this area who is planning to go to a member of Parliament's office in Windsor today to continue protesting the carbon tax, and that's what the premise for this is. The focus of this protest is the Axe the Tax protest. They don't want the carbon tax in place. They have vowed to stay as long as it takes, stay until Trudeau agrees to get rid of the carbon tax, which took effect April 1st. That this most recent incremental increase in the carbon tax has added 3 cents per liter to the cost of gasoline. Over time, between now and 2030, the carbon tax will add somewhere around 60 cents per liter if the plan is fully implemented. Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, at one of the rallies just recently, within the last week and a half, 2 weeks, actually called on people to come out and protest.
It seems like they're deleting my videos. They don't want you to see this.
And so his slogan, Axe the Tax, has been used here. A lot of the protesters saying, well, this is Pierre Poilievre's idea, so we're out here protesting because Pierre Poilievre sent us. I've heard that many times over the past day, and this now day 2 of this protest. I thought that was interesting, how Poilievre and his Axe the Tax campaign has now been adopted by, I would characterize this as the freedom movement, and they're out there protesting, using this as, their current cause area of focus and concern for people. Lost the audio again. May need to reestablish the audio. I don't know what this gentleman is saying. So we're about an hour into this now. I get the sense police are just, for the time being, they're just going to stand there in the ditch and stare at the protesters. They're not taking steps to move them out. They haven't done anything to use any kind of force at all at this point. But of course, that's the concern, right? And there's so little trust in police at this point. And I'm sure we'll get the audio back here momentarily. After what happened in Ottawa, that as we're watching this unfold today, I think the expectation is police will take some sort of aggressive action against the protesters at some point. But at this point, that's not happened at all. All they're saying is, you guys can't come on this side of this line. You can't come on the other side of this ditch. So they're being allowed to stay on the side road and protest over there. My prediction is it's not going to matter at this point how many protests there are, how long this protest stays in place. Trudeau is not going to roll that tax back. I think the only way that that tax is going to be rolled back is after the next election and you get the new government in there. And it looks right now like it will be a conservative government. If an election were to be held today, we would end up with, according to the polls, a majority conservative government under Pierre Poilievre, and he would rescind the tax. He'd roll that back. Then the question is, can you trust him? Would he replace it with something else or do something that would be equally as bad? A lot of people putting a lot of faith in him, a lot of hope that he'll do what they want. But hey, they're all politicians in the end, right? And that's what politicians do. They speak out of both sides of their mouth, and they say one thing, and then they do something that ends up giving you the same result on the other side. That tends to be what happens with politics. It's always been that way, I suppose. But I don't think, as much as people are hopeful that this will result in Trudeau saying, okay, I give up, I'll roll the tax back. This is not enough pressure for that. Not at this point. And that's what the protesters are saying themselves. They're saying, we don't have the numbers to stand against this. We don't have the numbers to just stay here indefinitely. We need more people down here. The protests yesterday, there were quite a few of them, but they were, frankly, small to moderate in terms of size and numbers. That's the first thing that was said to me when I went to just shoot some video of what was going on here in this area yesterday. The protesters I spoke to were disappointed they didn't have more people come out to support their efforts. But here, everything went off smoothly yesterday. Protesters out there on the overpass on Highway 401, waving flags, protesting, doing their thing. Police did come by many times during the day, but just said, howdy, how are you? Police even offered to bring them coffee, and everything went well. Here, though, it's a different story. I think the tension is much higher. And for whatever reason, this group of protesters is in a much different position with police than what I saw here locally with the protests that I covered yesterday out in the field. Now picking this one up out in Alberta, and I think that the cops are just going to stay where they are for the moment. I don't think they're going to make any moves here, not right now. They're just keeping them off the highway. Honestly, I have to say, I was worried that, with all these people on the shoulders of highways across the country, which was the plan, leaving one lane open but slowing things down, I was worried about public safety, about the safety of the protesters, because I've seen even construction workers on the sides of highways struck by vehicles and killed at times. And then if you maybe get a motorist flying down the highway who is opposed to the views of the protesters politically, who knows what could happen. It was something of concern to me. Worried about everybody's safety out there. So they are off on the shoulder, not the shoulder rather, but the side road adjacent to the highway, a service road, and they're lined up on one side on that service highway and service road, and cops in the ditch saying, you do not come on the other side of this ditch. Stay here. And so now we have this eyeball to eyeball, toe to toe, face off, standoff right here on the highway in Alberta. Now, are they causing any problems on that service road? I would say no. But they don't want them on that highway. And so it continues. Audio issues again here. We'll probably get reestablished again with audio shortly. And now we're probably into this, about an hour and around an hour and 15 minutes into this standoff between Axe the Tax Freedom protesters and police out in Alberta. And then yesterday, one of the protesters that I spoke to mentioned, a number of issues, but one of them being what's going to happen. The electoral, the changes to the electoral system that Trudeau has been bringing in. And, the irony in that is that everybody is going into the last election and the election before and even previous elections calling for electoral reform the system. And that's one of the things that Trudeau was promising was electoral reform. So the Liberal government has implemented some changes. And one of those changes was to move the date of the next mandatory election, which is, I believe, in October of 2025, constitutionally. The Liberals, the Trudeau Liberals have to only get so many years, and you must call an election based on the Constitution. But they did introduce a legislative change to move the date ahead by about a week. And the reason for that, and I'll look it up, it's because of like a holiday, an Indian, like the country India. I'll get the exact details on this. But there are a lot of people upset about it because if this is what happens, a lot of about 80 some MPs, members of parliament, will qualify for a pension because they were going to miss their pension, qualifying for a pension by just days. And this reform, by moving that mandatory election date ahead, would allow them to actually qualify for an MP's pension. You must serve, I believe it's 6 years as a member of parliament to qualify for a pension. If you don't serve the full 6 years, then the pension payments that you make as part of your wage as a member of parliament then are returned to you, which you can then roll into like a retirement savings plan or a whatever on your own. So you don't qualify for a full federal pension as a member of parliament. But by moving that date, about 80 of these members of parliament would have qualified. So yeah, they've tabled this Elections Act revision. So under the existing terms of Canadian electoral law, the next mandatory election is October 20th, 2025. So one way or another, Trudeau has to have an election by October 20th of next year. That's part of the Elections Act, which then ties into, of course, the Constitution. But this revision, which is part of a whole package of proposed amendments, it's a one-time change, and it moves the date for the next mandatory election 1 week later to October 27th. So the reason the government said that they wanted to do this was because they don't want the election day to fall during Diwali, the 5-day Hindu Festival of Lights. it also moves the date so that it does not conflict with the municipal election, I believe, in Alberta. They don't want the two elections happening at exactly the same time. But what this also means is that quite a number of members of parliament who were first elected back in 2019, and a lot of them are New Democrats or Liberals, who frankly are probably going to lose their ridings in the next election based on the polls, they weren't going to qualify for their 6-year qualification to get their full lifetime parliamentary pension that starts as early as age 55. So some of the most prominent MPs in that boat are the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Stephen Guilbeault, Treasury Board President Anita Anand, and some others. So, of course, a lot of people saying that, that's just another sign of corruption. And as I say, the irony is people were screaming and hollering for electoral reform. Trudeau promised it. He made that part of his campaign platform to get elected. Then he comes along and gives it to you. And there you have it. That's what you got. That's your electoral reform under Trudeau. A lot of people upset about that. Now, if they were to be reelected, then they would have qualified for their full pension. Anyway, but you have to get reelected. You need to serve 6 years. So, yeah, I think that was going to, if that happens, that's a substantial cost to Canadian taxpayers. I think what's the total cost on that? I think it's about $1.5 million in that vicinity is what the total cost to taxpayers would end up being over the life of those pensions, approximately. And so there are some people out there who are of the belief that Jagmeet Singh, New Democrat, who is propping up Trudeau, because he only has a minority government, he needs the support of the NDP to have this coalition in Parliament to survive any kind of confidence vote and keep his grip on power. And so a lot of them think that Singh is really just making a deal with Trudeau to keep propping this up so that he'll get his pension, in kind of a selfish bid to not only retain power but to cash in. Okay, we're gonna get reestablished here with this new feed. Keep losing the audio, but we'll keep reestablishing it. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 30-second break here while we bring the audio back for you. Stay with me. Be right back after this.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, Independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind.
And we're back live with coverage from Alberta, where there is this ongoing standoff between protesters and police. Highway 1, we've just about got the audio back, so we're going back live here in just a moment. We've got a feed coming out of there. And so, yeah, overnight, protesters moved their vehicles over onto a side road that'd been there, protesting on the highway during the day yesterday on the shoulder of the road. One of many protests across the country. Then police moved in overnight. Was receiving information from there through the night saying police are going to come and remove us. They're moving into position. Concerns that they were going to use force to clear them out, but that did not happen. They were allowed to stay. They were over on the side road, and I don't think there was much of a safety concern there, so they've been allowed to stay on the side road, this service road adjacent to the highway. They are also very close to like a truck stop there. The police moved in with quite a number of vehicles yesterday, described by some as SWAT vehicles. I don't think they were actually SWAT vehicles. They were SUVs. Why they were described as SWAT vehicles, it's just maybe just not an accurate description. But yeah, the police did move in, but they've allowed the protesters to stay. And we're just trying to get a feed reestablished out of there. And we'll be coming back live here in just a moment, I think. Yep. So bear with me while the feed reconnects here. So we've been following this. It's been going on now for a better part of an hour, over an hour, I would say. And so this morning, police just moved in, formed that line in the ditch to prevent the protesters from getting back out onto the shoulder of the highway. That's, I think, where they would prefer to be. And police are saying, no, you don't come past this line. We don't want you over here on the actual highway protesting in the lane, this one lane of the highway, because essentially that's what had happened. Is you had all these vehicles on the shoulder. They shut down the one lane. One lane was left open, as I understand it, and then overnight they moved over onto the service road. So they don't want them over there. Hang in there with me. So we're monitoring things here. We're getting, let me just check and see. Getting some messages out of there too. And they do have liaison officers there. The liaison officer told them, even though we're hearing people say they won't even speak to us, that actually is not the case. They do have liaison officers who are speaking to the protesters, because the protesters, well, we saw Freedom George come over and tell us what was said. He said that the police told them that they are not allowed to go beyond that line. They're not allowed to go over onto the shoulder of the highway. So they are speaking to police in that way. The officers, of course, who are standing in that line they never do say anything. They're trained not to, for legal reasons. So they generally, very rarely will they even say anything to a protester other than, or anyone for that matter, other than hi, how are you, or maybe engage in something very casual in terms of conversation. But generally speaking, they don't speak. And so the protesters are down there saying, we need more numbers, we just don't have enough people to hold the line. And with that being said, I'm going to recue this and let some video from a little earlier roll while I take care of some stuff here in the studio and reestablish a feed. Here we go.
Hopefully we got sound now, guys. How's your group doing, Ashley?
Setup that I need. You see this here? Hooked up to the generator. Like, that's gotta be wrong. That's crap. It's wrong.
It seems like they're deleting my videos. They don't want you to see this.
Okay, so just working on getting the feed reestablished here. As this standoff between protesters and police continues, looks like we've lost our main feed, so we'll continue to monitor this. Just give me a moment here and I'm just going to check. See if we can get something back. And while we'll do that, I'll just go back and let some of this previous footage roll while I give you some commentary on top. And we have seen officers switched out. So this is on the Trans-Canada Highway N22 by the Petro-Canada truck stop out in Alberta. Protesters standing their ground while police have moved in. And have taken up a position in the ditch. And this is what it's been looking like for the past, an hour and a half now, I would say. Trans-Canada Highway N22. Protesters have moved over onto this service road. That's where they've been overnight. They were allowed to stay there. And we've got another feed coming out of there. Here we go. We're going to switch over to this other feed. And actually, I think this is, I'm not sure if this is absolutely up to date. Yeah, I think this is, we'll bring it to you though. Here we go.
Screenshot these and make them go viral so their kids can see what they do on a daily basis to Canadian citizens.
Yeah. Take these videos and screenshot it all. Make them famous.
What'd you guys do today, Dad? We beat up more Canadians for standing up for your rights.
Yeah, this is actually a delayed feed coming back out.
Make them.
Okay, working on a feed. And it looks like there's a delay in getting this out. I'm going to pick up this previous feed from this source. This is Freedom George. This is what he had to say earlier. This goes back a couple hours older, but he's explaining what his position is on this.
Day in paradise. Looks like we had a lineup of cops. I was just down getting a coffee, and they were all piling out of their vans and lining up, and it looks like they're all lined up along the highway here.
This is about 2 hours ago.
Impeding traffic
hour and a
today.
half.
It was a very good day yesterday. Lots of people showed up. We made our point. Now I think we got about 20 vehicles still that stayed here. Campers and cars and horse trailer and big truck and yeah, so looks like they're lined up and everybody's just kind of taking videos here. I'm just walking back. Well, I see Ron's live, so you guys probably, some of you already know about this. Everyone's lining up on the road there. So if we don't get the numbers, guys, they're just gonna push us around. That's how this works, right? So I'm glad everybody come out. Yesterday was awesome. Oh, got a big truck here. Yeah, I might talk to that guy inside. He's cool. He's all for us hauling some natural gas like I do. Oh yeah, they're all lined up over here. See what we got going on, guys. I'll flip the camera. I'm just getting back to the, this is where we're still staged. I got my tent set up over there. Well, looks like we're probably not getting on the highway today. We don't have the numbers here now to do anything, so they're coming to flex their muscles. Last night there was a whole bunch of vans.
A little more waiting for us down there. Okay, you guys, there's another group of them coming. Chris.
Oh yeah, they're all good. Oh yeah, they'll come in numbers, yeah. So that's what we have. We made our point yesterday. Oh yeah, no problem. We're gonna have to leave here today because we don't have the numbers. So there we go, you guys. They're coming down with another battalion just like that, or whatever you want to call it. Another squad. They're marching down the road there right now. Behind me, you can see them in the distance there, a whole bunch of them. They're coming in to make sure we don't impede traffic, and they'll be kicking us out of here today. That's what they're coming for, to get us out of here. We are in a way station. So it is what it is. We knew if we didn't have the numbers show up and stay that this exact thing would happen, guys. So either you all stand up or we're gonna be done standing up. Simple as that. Guy can't keep doing this forever. Not getting any results, right? So people aren't willing to stand up and get out there in large numbers. That's how we stop this peacefully, but well, I can't do this on our own, that's for sure. Let's turn this around here. Look, these guys got their ride helmets. Well, I might as well go start taking down my tent. We don't have the numbers here to deal with this already, you guys. We needed a bunch of you guys to stay here last night to deal with this today. I wish you guys understood how the process works here and what they do.
We're going to stand in line in front of them and do the Lord's Prayer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. So maybe they're not going to bother us and they just don't want us to touch traffic today. Hey, Ron, maybe we just stay here all day and just let them stand there. Check out the background though, guys. We got the view of the mountains. It's beautiful out there.
Look past all the bacon.
Say it loud, Elliot.
Our Father, who art in heaven,
Your name. Kingdom come.
thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Listen, guys. God bless you guys too. God bless you guys. You're gonna need God to live all over, guys.
Yeah.
Just doing my job ain't gonna work.
You gotta cross that line in the finish, guys. We're gonna get rid of Christianity. The problem in this country right now is God has pretty much left the picture. And that's a fact, guys. Think about your children, think about the future. Because there's gonna be no future. Like I said before, we don't do this for nothing. We do this because we truly care about each and every one of you guys. We really do. It's just sad to see. Super sad to see.
Yeah.
But trust you, right? We're supposed to trust you.
We love you guys.
We've lost our way, and I think you guys all know it too. Our country's in big trouble, so one day you're gonna have to stand with the people. You gotta be a morning person, Elliot. Like me. So basically we don't have enough people to block the highway today, and they come flex their muscles, right? So
Yeah, didn't our crowd just double?
yeah. Well, you guys see enough of that. I don't know how to explain this to you guys anymore, or any better. So you need to stand up, and we need people in large numbers to do so. And you got to stay, and you got to keep going. If we had large numbers to pinch off this highway day after day, they would listen. It was backed up all the way to Calgary yesterday, right? We did a big thing here yesterday, but if we could do it day in and day out, they would surely listen, right? We're gonna hold the line here and see. We thought they were gonna come in and start ripping us out. Well, I did anyways.
So they were actually blocking the highway yesterday.
But I know the tactics, right? So, and last night, yesterday, they would have got the marching orders to come and get this highway opened up. And by the time they got here, we had fizzled out. They started blocking the road up top there, so there was no vehicles coming by our protest on the highway anymore.
Yeah.
And so we just
they went
opened up
around
the highway. We got everybody off the highway, and by the time there was like 20 vans. These guys got out of like 5 vans, so they had 20 of them yesterday. Plus there was 17 cop cars down at the Petro Pass, so we knew something was up. We got off the highway, and once they got all their shit together and they got here, it was over. So they just left, right? And then this is, some of the troops from obviously yesterday. So they weren't ready for us yesterday, but they're ready for us now. And in order to block anything, we need a lot of people. So if we're just going to be sitting here and we don't have the people to get out on the highway and make a difference, then there's no point in being here. There isn't. And it's very sad, and it hurts my heart. because I was expecting a lot more of you guys to stand up. I was expecting farmers. I was expecting just people that care. We're being taxed to death. This is all about getting rid of the carbon tax. We're being taxed to death. And that's what's going to be coming, you know, like you're going to be bankrupt eventually. You might have money in the bank now, so you're not doing anything. Oh, I'm still good. Well, what happens in a year or two or whatever? And the carbon tax goes up every April 1st. It's already scheduled to go up every April 1st. And just do the math, you guys. Just do the math. Okay? I want you to just take a calculator out and say the carbon tax goes up $500 a year. Let's just use that number. So take $500, that's one person, and multiply that by let's say 30 million. What's the number you get? 500 times 30 million. That's 1 year. When you look at it that way, you see how much money they're taking and how much they're stealing. Where's this money going? What are they using it for? You know what I mean? Like, just think about it that way. $500 a person times, and we're not even going to 40 million, we're going to 30 million, okay? Your calculator won't even calculate it. That's how big the number is every single year. Where's our money going? What's it being used for? Not us. Not us. Not our infrastructure and everything else. This is crazy, so we'll just do another circle here. They're all just standing nicely, not saying a word. We can sit there and talk to them all day. To me, it's a waste of time. They're soldiers. Yeah. To me, it's just a waste of time. But they're not moving on us. They just don't want us to get out on the highway by the looks of it. So Elliot's going at him. I don't have the voice for it. I talked too much yesterday.
Like me, your voice isn't working.
Yeah. Well, at least they're not coming at us, eh? They're just making sure we don't get on the highway.
This is a game for what's over there.
Yeah. There's just I was down there. There's just a few cop cars, and then they rolled in with their vans. They're not piled out.
3 vans, 3 vans, 3 vans, 4 vans stayed up top.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're just waiting to see what happens there. They got backup in case things escalate, right? And they'll just come swarming in, but
It's really sad to see.
you want to get on live? We're on live. Tell the people.
Yeah, obviously it's a pretty sad day when you see these guys stand up for the government and the stuff that they pulled off in the last 2 years on this thing. These guys they got wives, they got children, they've got home utility bills, they got fuel equipment, personal vehicles. They should be on the same side as us right now.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Like they're so indoctrinated. I think also the all their chiefs and sergeants or whatever they're all bought and paid for too. So it starts at the top, getting the right people in the right place to make the cops do the right things as well. It's
There's a reinforcement for the following government, but the government cannot continue the way it is.
no, and they're using them as thugs, right? So
It's really sad, right? I feel for these people in a way.
yeah, well, we're trying to save their families too, really. So good morning. Yeah.
They're doing more for their families than they are.
Yeah, well, they probably got things set up and they know what's coming, so maybe they got a bug out or something, They didn't like the support yesterday, neither, you guys. Even with the people sitting in line for an hour or 2 hours on the road, 80%, I would say, around 80% of the people were still honking their horns and waving at us, even if they had to sit in traffic. So we had the support. Of course, yesterday we had the ones that were sticking their heads out the sunroofs and screaming at us and stuff. But I would say 80% yesterday, backed us for what we were doing here. Yeah, where's the money going? That's right, exactly. And the guy down there on the end, he's videotaping all of us, so imagine maybe our tickets will come in the mail. I've had that happen to me before in my hometown. Or one cop there, he goes around and just looks at the license plates on vehicles, and then you'll get a no registration ticket in the mail. Yeah, so I think what we're gonna do, yeah, guys. Oh, Nancy Nance, how you doing, girl? Oh, you know, we got a lineup of cops over there making sure we don't get on the highway today. They didn't like what happened yesterday. Well, it was April Fool's yesterday, right? So, excuse me. Maybe my French connection here from Quebec is even here. He pulled in his big truck last night. He's hauling cars. Let's see, where is he? He's over here. Let's go see what he's doing. Don't want to get him in trouble with his boss. Doesn't look like he's being too safe over here. Let's go look. Maybe I should jack some of these cars while he's here. He pulled in last night. I was pretty happy to see him. What's going on, brother? You're on live video there. You better not be doing anything illegal. Got his Freedom hoodie on. He travels all over the place, hauling cars. Oh, he's all the way from Quebec right now. Pretty cool, eh? So yeah, as you can see, guys, Ron's gonna keep live streaming and stuff there, but we really gotta just take that calculator out and maybe it'll put it into perspective a little more for you. They keep taking, so a lot of people, oh well, it's only $400 a year. That's no big deal. The next year it's another 400, 500, whatever it is, right? And you just get used to it, and you just get used to it. Take that $500 a year, times it by 30 million. See what your calculator says. And that's just the carbon tax. That's no other taxes. It's absolutely astronomical. The numbers are crazy. Where is it all going? I can't pay taxes knowing that it's going for genocide. I need to get my flags back up here. I want to get my flag and I'm going back. I got my axe to tax flag and I'm going back to the cops. We need people here. Bring your campers. Bring anything you need to stay. So, if we don't get the people today, tomorrow, don't know what to say, man. Tried. I'm gonna go with the survival mode. Simple as that. I'll still do live videos, be an influencer and stuff, but you won't see me out here doing this anymore. I'll be getting ready for what's coming. And then I'll just have to say, I told you so to a whole bunch of people later on. Tax the tax. You guys like my flag I got made up? Pretty nice, eh? Tax the tax!
You guys actually want legal meth. I think that's going to make your jobs easier.
This guy's videoing me and I'm videoing him.
What is it we're missing?
You like my flag?
LGBTQ flag? A Palestine flag? What are we missing? Is it just a Canadian flag?
Yeah, what do you got there? Fix Canada. Did you write that book there?
Jeff Wellerton wrote it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jeff Wellington, it says right on there.
It's a thick read, but I'm about partway through it.
Oh, yeah, is it good?
1975.
Nice.
I just want the cops to read the title. I think it has impact.
Yeah.
Just the title, and they have been reading it.
Yeah, well, that's good. We're few down here, you guys. We need you. I wish most of these people that were here yesterday would have stayed. We're waving our flags. Let's go. The McDavids are going out of there. Yeah, I can't say nothing.
Canadians are losing their jobs right now, guys. How many?
Oh.
The ones sleeping in their tents, and you guys going to rip those apartments down too?
I'm homeless. I got my tent over there already. I'm homeless. Freedom. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Not so much freedom here this morning. Hey, brother. What do you think about what's going on with our tax issues and you know, where our tax money is going and stuff? Like, can you keep living the way you're living?
No, I can't. I'm actually near solar or wind farms right now that are killing my family. My wife's really sick. Our rabbits don't produce anymore. And
Yeah.
I feel those vibrations when I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of there. I don't know. We gotta get out of there. But this is Alberta. Like our premier should be here, not them.
Yeah.
The premier should be here. We can't blame everything on Trudeau all the time.
No.
I realize that.
No, we got to work on it. We can't touch Trudeau. We know that. We need to work on our local areas and our provinces big time. I agree with that kind of stuff. And
I know everyone's got a job and obligations and stuff, but we need numbers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like George, like you said, I'm done too.
yeah,
Get ready for what's coming too, and we'll bug out together.
yeah, that's right. And
That's our own
you know, and we'll survive because we're gonna be ready.
Yeah, like this is normal in Ontario. This should
Yeah.
not be happening in Alberta. This is right. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's right, buddy. No, but they've stopped us from getting on the highway today, anyways. Yeah, too. Somebody said they're not handing out Tim Hortons. Yeah, accounts will be down. I know that for a living. But anybody who can get out here that can make the sacrifice, like me, I should be working too. But I worked my bag off, saved up some money, you know, and then I'll be struggling for a month and a half when I go home. But you know, make the sacrifice if you can. I understand people have to work, yo. I do. I get it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, my feet got soaking wet yesterday going around these ditches. Hey, what's up there?
Sad state of affairs, guys, in this country, to see what you see right there, right now. Bonds for the Corporation of Canada, plain and simple, guys.
Yeah.
It's not right. It breaks my heart, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So we're all standing up here. They're all standing down there. Maybe this will go on all day, guys. We don't know. Maybe we'll be here all day. Maybe they'll end up doing something, but I don't think they will if they don't want it on video. No. They're gonna have to go pee and all that fun stuff eventually too, but they're just making sure that we don't get on the highway today because yesterday was yeah. Yeah.
Controlling conduct.
Yeah, this guy's right.
Put us in jail for that.
So, bud, what do you think about this carbon tax? That's why we're here. What do you? What's your thoughts on the amount of tax that we pay? The carbon tax alone. What's your thoughts on the carbon tax alone?
These guys come up with
Yeah. That's right. No, they're just here to stop us. So yeah, what do you think about carbon tax?
It's all fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a fucking scam and people falling for it.
Yeah, people are falling for it. Yeah, you bet. And then, you know, CO2. Yeah, that's the gas of life. Let's get rid of the. Let's tax so the weather will change, and we get rid of the CO2 so the plants stop growing, and we all die. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. That makes all total sense. Let's tax something that's not killing us. Toronto wants to tax the rain now. Yeah. I don't think a lot of these people don't understand what's coming and what they're doing to all of us. But this is our taxpayer money here, guys. And the funny thing is we weren't even going on the highway today. So we were leaving it alone today. Yeah, it's a green scam. You got that right. But we do what we do. We stand, guys. So that's what's going on here. I think it's going to be, it might be just a long day of standing here face to face with the cops. If anything happens, we'll have some live videos going. But I don't. Hey, brother, what's up?
Anybody that was,
We're on a live video here. Just
anybody that was going to stay here was going to get arrested. I haven't been told by any one of them that I'm committing a crime. That's why
No, they never even told one of us that we're committing a crime here. So.
They can fuck up. We're not doing anything. Why would they want to arrest us? We're not doing it.
Yeah, another day in paradise. I'll cook myself some bacon and eggs. I want to show you guys my little setup I got over here. So yesterday, I just got set up. I just got my wet shoes off and my wet socks off, and I was like drying off my shoes, drying off my feet and everything, and then all of a sudden, there's 20 vans over there. They're coming for us. And I looked over and I'm like, holy cow. So I grabbed some binoculars, and yeah, no, they were all over there, a whole bunch of them. And there were 17 cop cars down at the other road here. They were like, okay, they're coming. I better take down my camp, because everybody else was getting all wound up to leave. And I'm like, well, I can't stay here by myself. I'll get thrown in jail. So I started taking down my camp, and then all of a sudden all those vans started moving, but they went the other way. So I just set my camp back up and stayed. I'm gonna put my flag here in my truck. Got blowing in the wind. Check it out though, guys. I made a little hut here with two of those pop-up tents side by side, right? And then you come over here to the farmer's field, and dun, 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 I got my tent inside here with my big blow-up mattress, and I got my coolers and my cooking things. I had pretty much everything set up, but then they got scared. So yeah, I put up some Christmas lights, run off the generator. So I plan on staying here, like literally living in a tent through matter what weather came. Hopefully, hoping that thousands and thousands of Canadians would stand up for once and fight against the one thing that will put money back in your pocket. Right there. Axe the carbon tax. That's my flag. I also have a freedom one. I gotta maybe pull that one out today. Maybe I should go pull that out in front of the cops. Got a little sunburn yesterday too, look at that. Pretty red. So, either we all stand up, or we all feel the pain from the taxes and everything that's coming. But I gotta tell you, there's a lot of people that have been doing this for a long time, and we are all to the point where we just don't see the people standing up enough. They're not angry enough. They're not broke enough. They're indoctrinated too much. Whatever the reason is, and we're just not. We're getting tired. We're getting tired, and we know what's coming. So we have to take care of ourselves and literally get ready so we can weather the storm as well. Oh. We got a cop on the road with lights on down there now. Are they going to start pinching traffic on us? We're not even on the road. Blame it on us. We need a liquid manure spreader. Yeah, I don't think the manure spreader is for this spot. This is the Trans-Canada Highway. What we did yesterday, what the people did was amazing. They didn't let up neither. Didn't give an inch. You know, the cops wanted us to open up the road a little bit and let some traffic through and stuff. And I tried, you know, I said, I can try, you know, to get things moving a bit. But, you know, it lasted for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and the people just pitched it down to one lane again. And I'm like, I tried. So that's their freedom. People are tired. Everybody showed up here yesterday, did a really good job. They stood their grounds. But we didn't have no police presence here really until closer to the end when we opened up the highways. So that's what's going on down here. We are next to the Petro Pass, Highway 1 and 22. Just south of Cochrane, Alberta. And it looks like we're just gonna have a bunch of cops today for now. We'll see. If anything happens, we'll get on a live video and keep you guys updated. I'm sure Ron is.
Okay, so that's the way it's been rolling all morning. Well, for the last 2.5 hours, I guess. Is that right? Losing track of time already. So we'll continue to monitor it here. I have some people messaging me and kind of keeping me up to date. So I will come back on here through the afternoon if warranted, if we needed. But right now what we have is basically, folks, a standoff with cops standing in a ditch telling the protesters, can't cross this line, can't come back on the highway today, can't park your vehicles on the shoulder of the road, you can't impede traffic, you can't block the one lane of the highway and slow traffic down. You heard him say that traffic yesterday was backed up all the way to Calgary, is what he said, because they'd slowed traffic down so much. Cops not going to have any of that today. So they've formed that line of officers in the ditch, and they're saying, no, can't cross this line. They have additional reinforcements there, so about every half hour they're switching those officers out so that they can stand there staring at the protesters while the protesters stare back. It's a standoff with the protesters parked over on that service road, which is where they moved them over through the night. They all moved off the highway, went onto that service road. Police moved in. I was getting messages. People were saying they're coming to move us out, probably by force. That did not happen. They've allowed the protesters to stay. The protest is continuing, but on the service road right now. Two liaison officers are there. They do speak to the protesters, couple of the key guys, and then they're keeping them informed, and that's what the word is as well. They've been told, you can't cross this line, you can't go past the ditch. So you can stay over there on the surface road for now. Whether that will continue to be the case through the day, I don't know. It is a service road. There is some traffic there, not nearly as much, obviously. A little bit of traffic. From the looks of it, though, the cops are going to allow them to sit there and just do their thing for the time being. And we'll continue to monitor this. We've been at this now for a couple of hours, bringing you this live news update as this standoff between protesters, Axe the Tax Freedom protesters in Alberta, and police continues. And there are other protests happening in pockets across the country even today, day 2 of the Axe the Tax protest nationwide in Canada, nowhere near what we saw yesterday, and small protests scattered across the country yesterday as well. This one was the largest from everything that I saw, except maybe what happened in Ottawa in terms of real numbers, but this one being the most disruptive on the highway. So I will be back through the afternoon if necessary to bring you updates if there's anything of significance that happens out there in Alberta. Please like, share, subscribe. If you like the work we do here on the channel, you can support us by donating at freedomreporters.com or maverickdonations.com. That's the Give, Send, Go. You can donate there, or as I say, at freedomreporters.com as well. Sure appreciate the support we've had. You guys are the only thing that keeps us supported here. We don't get anything from YouTube, etc. We've been completely demonetized there, so greatly appreciate the support. And I will be back later this afternoon, and if not, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this evening with the regular Maverick News program right here on the Maverick News channel, where we have the antivirus programs for your mind. See y'all then on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.